Hi, my name is Guy Lawrence and thanks for tuning into my podcast today. If you're enjoying these conversations and you want to check out more of this transformational work, be sure to come back to guylawrence.com.au and join me as we go further down the rabbit hole. Enjoy the show.
Beautiful. Guys, we're on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
You have to open your mouth so people can hear.
I thought we could just acknowledge with a nod.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're listening on iTunes, it's much harder. But
of course.
It's very rare that all three of us are together because naturally, Petra, you're in Croatia. And Matt, well, you're in Sydney and I'm in Byron Bay. And we are all in Mullumbimby right now. Are we in Mullumbimby? Where are we?
Pretty much, yeah. Right on the outskirts of Mullumbimby.
Yeah.
Beautiful property.
Yeah, we're actually in this. If you can see us in the video, we're actually at our friend's place, Ronnie, who has open table cooking, and she's lent us her big
Shala.
Shala. It's incredible here. So we thought, let's record the podcast there. So we're here today anyway. And we're off the back of our second Live and Flow retreat of 2020 already. We did them back to back.
Both sold out.
Yeah, our bodies are still intact.
just
about. And it was, we're still trying to find the words. And we were talking just before we started recording this podcast about the things that, how do we even capture what we've been through and witnessed with everyone into a half-hour conversation. But we're going to do our best. Right? We're going to do our best.
Again, use your voice. Yeah. Petra keeps nodding. She'll never make it on radio.
So we wanted to write 5 key points that kind of take home that would help people listening to this and still trying to figure out what the hell it is we do at the retreats and why they're so wonderful. But the list has grown as well. There's more than 5. That's what happens when we give Petra the pen, but that's okay.
You got 8 there, I reckon.
Yeah. So let's start with the first one. Let's just rock and roll into it. So Petra, I need you to read that out because I can't read your handwriting.
So it says that we often lose awareness that we control our lives, not the other way around.
That life controls us, huh?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's here. Just to start off with that, you know.
It's pretty much how the retreats flow, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we noticed the first day, that people come completely unaware of the power they carry inside of them.
Totally.
Afraid, scared, hopeless, feeling hopeless.
No, many are. There are many there too that are just openly curious as well, that want to just continue to lean into this work as well, which is exciting.
Yeah, many of them know us from other workshops and stuff, and they know that we have a lot of fun when we're together, so they come and they trust us.
Yeah. Why do you think it is that we feel like we've lost control of our lives then?
We become unaware of our power because of and we live unconsciously, right, from day to day.
We do.
So we just keep on being occupied with things that are coming into our lives, and if we don't practice the awareness and the meditation, coming back to ourselves and metacognition and being aware of our own thoughts and emotions, we easily get lost with everything that is bombarding us from outside, and we lost.
It's almost like we lose our own, and I always think of Tony Robbins when I say this, because but our own personal power. Like when we get so caught up in our day-to-day lives of the busyness of we are, we kind of lose an aspect of ourselves, and sometimes it's been lost for so long. I know it was for me personally that I actually forgot it was even there. Yeah. And without awareness to start looking at these things, we need to acknowledge that part of ourselves first. And I think even come into the retreat is an acknowledgement to a degree that we're ready to start looking back, but it can be so debilitating from that point of view. And then all of a sudden we get caught in that spiral, and then we think we accept, believe, and surrender to our circumstances, to the way things are. And then because we've given our energy away to so much to everything else, we end up thinking that we can't change and thinking we can't do much about it, and this is how it is.
And because of the way that many of us have been raised, and thinking that we need to still give our power to authority, whether it's our parents or schooling system or government or whoever, we continue unconsciously living that way until we realize, oh, hold a minute. I mean, I'm the one who is choosing the way I want to live, and I have the power to change things. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one. Any words of wisdom on that one, Matt?
Yeah, no, I think you guys are nailing it at this point. I'll come in when I'm ready.
I just want to highlight you are part of this podcast. You know?
I'm just trying to get my head around. Well, the thing is that as we start to open into these things, and it just I just naturally lean into the retreats and all that wisdom that's there. And I'm like, oh, it's a podcast. We got to kind of keep it succinct to the point. So I'm like, how far do I want to lean into that? Because that what Petra was speaking to is the crux of it all, is awareness, and that's a huge subject, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
So,
but the positive is that we, it's a practice and it's a skill, and you can certainly develop that, and the self-awareness grows.
Yeah.
And if we're willing to lean into even the self-awareness, then we're really willing to start to go look under the hood within the self and start to maybe bring things up that we've been fearful to look at and address, and quite often these things can feel like monsters because we've allowed them to grow in our own self, in our own minds, and quite often when we start to look at these things and address, it's like, oh, actually that wasn't so bad after all, and I made it about this, and it can be something else. And what we witnessed, so we had pretty much about 70 people come through in the last week, and every single person got it, and it was beautiful, just that alone. Okay.
I think, well, at the end of the day, it comes down to like all those challenges and those stressors in our lives that we think we just can't overcome. It's like we put those in place to begin with. So in essence, we have the capacity then to create something new because we were the ones that actually created it to begin with.
Yeah.
And then we come up against ourselves and we just, like you say, relinquish our power and just say, oh, well, all these things are happening to me, instead of realizing, well, actually, I started to implement this process and these choices and these actions that I took in my life to create the situation that I'm in, to then have this experience that I'm having. And it's not actually happening to me. It's happening because of me and through me, as the choices and the actions I took based on the feelings and the thoughts that I held in that moment to create that. And then just rewinding it back. And I think that's the cool thing about the retreats, is we have that space then to pull people out of their conditioned responses and everyday experiences, so that they can come in and start to go at the source point. What is inside of me, the thoughts and the feelings that I've been holding, that I've been suppressing, not actually looking at, to build that awareness so that I can then start to create a new perception of things and make different choices, take different actions to create a new reality for myself. So inside out, sort of.
See, I knew he had some profound words. See that? Once he gets going, And the last thing that before we move on to the next point, that
and I have one.
triggered. Oh, we have one as well. We're back at the retreat now.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's it.
For me, it's discomfort drives us forward, and we fear it so much. And I think they're the great places to look. So as we get uncomfortable, it drives us into action. And the key is don't wait for the discomfort to grow unbearable, where it feels overwhelming.
That's it. Well, it's either pain's going to push you out of that, or the vision's going to pull. That's a Reverend Michael quote.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah. And it's so much greater to and it's difficulty if we don't have the vision, and it's the pain that's pushing us. But if we lean into this, and I would encourage anyone that's in a great place that wants to help redefine the vision to come along to this too. Like, it doesn't need to be this painful experience because I'm broken, and it can be just as exciting to have a vision that's pulling you forward. Absolutely. And you wanted to mention one thing?
Yeah, what just came to my mind is that we often forget that everything in our lives is happening for a greater reason and for a greatest good. And if we would try to find in every situation what's actually this thing or this situation teaching me, and what I'm learning from here, and how can I grow, it becomes so much easier. And it's the empowering moment when we realize that.
When we realize that. That's huge. Yeah. All right. Next point, Petra.
Next point.
Well, I would read it out, but
I'm trying to figure out what that first letter is.
Left-handed, female, handwriting. So
after a week of retreats.
It says power in us. That was one that you were challenging.
The power in it, absolutely. Because for me, and I want to say this on the podcast as well, like, because it's when we see people, we can often see things in other people that people can't see in themselves, and then we forget that other people are looking upon us and are seeing things in us that we can't see upon ourselves. So it works all the way around. Nobody's immune to it. But from doing this work, like hand on heart, we can all agree that there's an immense power within each individual human. It's just we need an open willingness to look at that and start to lean into that and allow that to come through. And I don't care what your age is, what your demographic or your qualifications or whatever it means. And we've witnessed some amazing things. And for me, the most incredible thing that I wanted to bring up on the podcast was last weekend I was able to bring my mum through the retreat, who's 75 years old, who could hardly lift her foot up onto a step. Her mobility wasn't great, but she had a openness and willingness to give this a crack. Yeah. And she blew me away. Like I was the worried son. Yeah. I was the worried son, and I wanted to rush over and help her up off the mat, and she wasn't having a bar of it. She's like, "You just do your thing, son. Like I'm good, And she was leaning into the community, and the most magical moment that's going to live with me forever is on. I think it was the end of day 2, day 1.
After the
1.5 days, right?
The second day, which is the first full day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's like, so we're about a day and a half into the retreat. Yeah. And my mum had an accident 15 years ago and broke a collarbone. And ever since, she never got her mobility back in her arm, and she couldn't lift her shoulder during this one. She couldn't lift her arm above shoulder level, like she was struggling to even scratch the back of her head. And she's lived like this for 15 years. And in one of the sessions, we saw her, I watched her holding her arm, and I'm like, oh, something's going on here. Yeah. And she came out, and she could lift her arm straight up above her head. And she just had this look on her face, like absolute awe.
That never left her face from that point
on.
No,
it still hasn't.
I don't think she put her arm down since that point either. She walked through the door with her hand sticking up. Like
yeah.
It's incredible.
And that's how powerful these processes are. But it was her that was allowing that to facilitate that response. And it's just, for me, that was a magic moment. It was a huge reminder, especially as a son, to see my mum step into her own self-empowerment, Like, it was just incredible. But we all have it, right? There were so many great things we witnessed.
Yeah, I mean, each one of them.
Every single person there.
Beautiful being. And
Well, yeah, that's one of the biggest Sorry, did I cut you off? Because you kind of had your lips pierced, and then you like, when I started talking, I got this look like daggers coming at me, like, you better shut up, dude. Like, Goddess is about to talk here. Please continue. I'll hold that thought for later.
We'll have a talk to him later.
Shit.
The sage moment.
The sage moment. Yeah, there's always a moment, isn't there, between us? Yeah, we're learning as well. But that's one of the biggest takeaways I find from that. When we sit in that space, and it's like, the first day or two, it's about unwinding from all that chaos and all that stress, and then you finally find that space, and you drop in, and it's like in that space is a silence, which creates an opportunity for a listening, and it's just simply that listening, and being able to listen to each other instead of like talking over each other. Who would do such a thing? But then that you get the wisdom from each other, and you get the mirror back. It's just astonishing, And
it's like once we get out of our own way, we give our body permission to do what it naturally wants to do. But we got to remove that part, the mind, the chatter, the chaos that's constantly driving the nervous system.
That's it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Was there something you were, George?
No, I just wanted to mention when you were talking about you and your mom, which is a great lesson is there as well, observing you, allowing to care for your mom instead of caring for her. And that's something important that we get lost in our lives.
Yeah.
Because often when we see somebody that we love and really care for them, that we want to take part of their burden and do things instead of them. Yeah. And it was so, I mean, I was really deeply touched observing you holding the space for all people with the two of us, and watching your mom doing all those things that were challenging for her.
Yeah.
And not going there to help her, but letting her find her own power. And I think that's what we all need to do in our lives, because if you would have stepped in and did things instead of her, what we tend to do in our lives, we actually give a message to that person, you can't do it, and we take the power from them.
Yeah.
So
it's huge,
it's
isn't
beautiful
it?
to observe that.
Yeah, and it was hard.
I know.
But it was huge, and it's incredible. All right.
There's a tremendous amount of rescuing, I think, happening in our world and our society, and then it becomes like, people want to be the rescuer and save other people and save the planet and save this, and but at the core of it, they haven't even saved themselves, and it's like, find that wholeness in yourself to hold that space, become the example and the empowered individual that then inspires other people to step into that same space. And I think, that's at the crux of it all, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive.
It's beautiful to watch.
Totally. It's a great lesson for me, when I'm going to be a parent soon as well. That's another topic.
We can't wait for that.
No, that's counting the minutes, mate. I just love the look in his eyes, like this sense of like, innocence and.
Well, look, I'll be honest. Being naive has got me a long way in life. Like, not what I'm in for, so I'm just going to keep that going.
That's it, mate.
All right.
Enjoy your coffees and time alone right now.
And sleeping an hour at night.
What a concept.
All right, moving on.
What's the next point on this scroll of gibberish here?
That we don't have to, which you basically touched a little bit, we don't have to wait to be broke or broken or having major life problems to come to these retreats, right?
Correct. Yeah. I look at it. Should I use that? No. Okay.
You can't do that now.
Now you have to.
I gotta tell you something. No. Forget about it.
But I look at it, and I remember reading a book many years ago, and I can't remember who it even was, but that doesn't help, so it's not even relevant to the book. But
this is probably my book. Let's just say it was.
But I look at as I was explaining to you, I look at everything as hardware and software, right? We got the hardware, the physical aspect of the body, and then we got the software, which is, consciousness and the mind, and we need to address both, really, and nurture both over time so they run efficiently. So you improve the hard drive, and then the software is going to run better. But if we have a couple of zeros and ones in the hard drive that are not programmed incorrectly, or of like, because when we
fragmented,
because when we arrive, we're like, hey, we got this clean hard drive, and then life is input in the zeros and ones, really, and putting meaning. And then as we run the software, it keeps like you only need a couple of zeros and ones out, and every time it runs through, it's going to blip, and then it's going to have this response, so. For me, as I've lent into the work more, and what I wanted to allude to is that, I'm always going to have zeros and ones that are going to end up, being out of sync and different areas of myself, whether it be the body or even the software that we run, right? So from that.
Oh, hello.
From that,
Okay, let's give her space now. She's here. Say hello.
Hello, say hello.
Hi.
You need to go down.
Hello.
We are recording a podcast right now.
That's beauty.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great space.
Yeah.
I know. We've already talked about how
Great.
amazing your space is at the beginning of the podcast.
Nice one. Beautiful.
Yeah.
This is a nice microphone you've got in there.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's all. Look at it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all
beautiful.
happening.
What a great day also. Like amazing lighting and amazing. It's not so windy. It's silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
How are you?
Magic.
I'm good.
Marvelous.
Really good. Yeah. I'll let you continue.
Well, we appreciate that. I was going to have to kick you out in a minute.
Where were we? Zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones, the hardware and the software.
Yeah, exactly. So the point being is that life's always going to, create defragging of the hard drive and things to run efficiently. So I look at it whether there's a lot of zeros or ones to to kind of defrag from life's experiences, to just wanting to tweak and upgrade so we can upgrade the software version and continually improve upon what we've already built. So I think it really doesn't matter, because I'm forever learning, and we're just fortunate that this is our chosen path and this is where we're in, so we get to be involved in it a lot more. But it's incredible how I feel the hardware and software continues to upgrade, you know, and I think there's such a misinterpretation around the work we do a lot when it comes to that.
Which actually reminds me, if I can jump in, may I, Mr. Omo?
I said a word. I was in a complete space of listening to beautiful words coming out of your mouth.
The beauty of the work we do, and especially the process we guide our students through our retreats, is taking care of the hardware and the software. And because people often tend to forget that it's so important to take care of and create our new selves to be able to be living here in this reality and this earth with anything that is coming.
Oh yeah.
Instead of diving only in meditations and floating around in space and, you know, being a spiritual beings, and then they need to go back into their lives and they're lost again.
Yeah, totally.
And I think the beauty is that we really empower people, not to empower, but really help them to
empower themselves
and to be able to really be present here in this life with all the techniques that we teach them and constant guidance from the above, right?
Totally. Well, we talked about the allostatic load, right, in the retreats as well, and that compounding effect of different stresses in our lives and being able to bring it back, you know?
Okay, now we need to do
Yeah, you're going to speak?
No, I think that's incredible what you just mentioned. That's one of the things I love about this work and where we're taking it, is because my journey has taken me through some really wild and wacky rabbit holes.
We can't even start talking about these stories on air. All right, Matt. Let's keep it. Let's keep it to a podcast. This is a family podcast.
The jungles of Peru to the freaking temples of, interdimensional lifetimes. It's like, but it doesn't do any good, you know. And it's like we're here in a physical body for a reason, and it just blows my mind that more people aren't embodying the work. And it's like, you know, if you think about it, we're spirit, you know, the larger part of who we are is spirit, right? So the essence of us is that, and that doesn't even actually exist in time, okay?
Yeah.
We're only here for a moment. I'm not going to take it out there. I'm not going to take it too far out there. I'm not going to pop. You just wait. I'm going to ground this right down, right? So we're in this body for what, 80 to 100 years maybe? Kind of it's moving up, whatever. It's a limited amount of time. And so if you take that amount of time and you compare it to eternity, like there's a bit of a gap. Bit of a gap there, isn't it? But we're spending time trying to get back to eternity instead of trying to be in time and embody each moment that we have here, which is such a blip, you know? And it's like, so it's like instead of trying to get out of body to spirit, we should be bringing spirit into body. Totally. I guess what the essence of what I'm trying to say without get too woo-woo.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. You nailed it.
That's what we do, you know? And it's so exciting for me because I've been in this industry for a long time. And it's like spiritual tourism is at its peak, you know? It is, you know? Let me just see what next experience I can get that's going to trip me out and have this, you know, interdimensional woo-woo happen to me so that I can just tick it off the list.
Off the bucket list.
And like tell my friends I'm cool because I did this, you know?
Yeah.
It's not what it's about. It's about how do I live more empowered so I can enjoy my life to the fullest and have the deepest, meaningful relationships in them as I blink and I'm gone. Before I blink and I'm gone. You know, it's like
absolutely.
And that's the beauty of it. And we see the light in these people's eyes and how it ripples into their lives and their relationships. And my purpose has been served. I can die now.
Yeah.
Be happy.
Yeah.
Which brings us to that change can be fun.
Yes.
I mean, we take people through so many different processes, and including your woo-woo processes. Okay, and a bit of mine woo-woo processes. But then again,
I'm careful who's pointing. This glass house, you know, throwing rocks.
But we do it in a way that people can really bring the wisdom down in their bodies and in their lives. And all three of us are.
There was a huge amount of laughter over that weekend.
Just a little bit, yeah.
You know, and how good was it when it began to rain and we all just ran up to the pool fully clothed to celebrate and just jumped in. Like, it was like, I don't know, like everyone, it was like being a kid again for every single one there. And it was far out, man. Like those moments, you know, will live for you forever. It's just incredible. Yeah. But yeah, it and that's the other thing. I think there's such a, I don't know, like you were saying earlier, like this, you know, there's a seriousness and this, you know, the way.
It's like spirituality and seriousness have gotten enmeshed, and people just get into this place where they like feel like they're being sacred. And the essence of spirit is joy and laughter, and it's childlike. So if you're not getting that joyous kind of, you know, wonder and awe and just lightheartedness, it's like you're really kind of missing the point, I reckon.
Totally.
It's the ego is the serious.
Yeah.
The ego imposes, you know, structured form.
And I'm gonna have to plug him on, you know, prop him up, because you tell some funny jokes there, mate. Like you do get a good.
Oh, look, I think
you get an audience. You give him an audience, right? And the next thing you know, he just can't help himself.
Yeah, you're gonna cut me off. But the thing is that I reckon your jokes are coming about down to my level with this, you know, becoming a new dad here. Like you're working on the dad jokes yourself, man.
There's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few.
And by the way, you know, like if you guys want to jab at me about being woo-woo, I've got some great footage of both of you really compromising positions of like,
That's
not
not
in the
true.
vault
Okay,
there.
next up.
What? What's next on this list?
Maybe this one.
Oh, which one?
You're going back? Oh, did they go backwards in Croatia on this? We always go from the top down. Are we going down up on this list?
Just listen.
I'm listening.
Okay. That past doesn't have to define us today. That's what we've seen, that some of the people come living in the past, having some bad experiences, coming from really unstable, violent moments, families, circumstances, and they still, although they are 40, 50, 70 years old, they still live in that fear and flight mode, and they are not even aware that it doesn't have to be that way, that they can live joyfully, that they can live through happiness and love. So I think that's, for me, that was the most amazing process to observe those people through this.
It's incredible.
It's actually just through these 3 days, right? They went from living in extreme fight or flight, some of them, not all of them, of course, and then becoming this beautiful, loving people with open hearts and smiles on their faces, loving life for the first time, actually. So for me, that was the most...
it's huge, and because your past doesn't equal your future, you know. But if our past is our only reference point and that's all we've ever known, it's very hard to see beyond that, because of the way the nervous system and the circuitry that we've developed that keeps recreating the feelings and the emotions and that anxiety response that's going in. But if you give somebody enough of an elevated emotion, we can start to elicit a different response, so they have new navigational territory to start to allow the body to lean into and realize that there is more, that there is something else. And the moment you hook onto that and really start to feel it, you've got a new North Star. Like you've got more purpose to lean into and direction to take that in. And I think that is huge. And all you have to do is experience it once, and that once can be a defining to elicit the true change and break free from the past. And like you said, it's just amazing to witness. It's incredible. So I hope that inspires. And I know that will inspire people listening to this that really feel stuck in their past. You know.
Yeah.
You want to add anything to that, Mister?
Oh, there's a few things I was just kind of thinking about when you said that. Is that, you know, why is that in place? That we're in that part of having to fear or be stressed or holding on to the past, and it's what we talk about, that it's creating a comfort zone in us, and we realize that, oh, I've got to keep these threats at bay, or keep these stresses at bay, to keep myself safe on not only just a psychological, but a neurological and a biochemical level, right? So we're working against our biology, our neurology, our psychology.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, you can't do that with a book. You can't do that with just listening to us talk. You can't.
Right now, yeah.
No, it's like the only way you're going to do that is to have an experience that takes you into that same sort of biology, neurology, and psychology, that then you're held in a safe container to realize that you can actually self-regulate and relax yourself in this stress response and do life differently.
Yeah.
And then you have a reference point to take back into your life, so that when you have these stressors or these challenges or things coming at you, you say, oh, remember that thing that I did in that meditation, and I was able to like maintain my peace and harmony within. Not so much a conscious thing, but it's like in your body.
The body's
like
been taught.
It's been taught, Like, literally embody the word.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
It's
in
crazy,
like,
you know, because let's be clear, our challenges never go away.
Yeah.
We're always going to have challenges, but what
100%.
changes is us and how we respond to the
perception.
challenges.
That's it.
So if we're constantly running from the challenges of life, then we're never giving ourselves an opportunity to change.
Right.
And we're always
that's
gonna
from
be-
past conditioning.
And that's past conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're giving people an opportunity to rewrite that past conditioning,
Yes.
so that then their condition they're bringing
Yeah.
forward is a new
Yeah.
version.
And it's...
Oh.
we're
And
witnessing-
without necessarily going back through the same trauma, which
Oh, God, no.
some which some people think that it's necessary.
Yeah,
People need to-
I've done too much catharting, you know? Just forget about it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's the component that you got to remind yourself, but to go deep into that and relive that is just creating more trauma. It's like, it's not what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Transformation of energy.
that's
Exactly.
it.
One form to another, neither created nor destroyed. That's true. Okay.
Okay.
I was
The
they'll
quantum
just keep
physicist
going.
is now joining
Oh
us, like-
yeah, where is he?
Is that it on
if
our list?
If
I reckon-
Einstein didn't know it,
we have
mate.
one more.
We got one more.
One
Yeah.
more. All right, bring it in.
Important part of the whole.
What?
Community.
Important
each
part of the
one of
hole. What
us,
hole? Black hole? No.
Whole.
Oh, hole with a W.
Are you having English lessons again now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. W. Whole.
Okay, sorry. Guy's not enjoying my humor.
No. So I heard it every day.
Okay,
here he goes again.
Yeah.
Focus.
Focus.
Okay.
Community. The whole.
Every person that comes to our retreats is bringing exactly what the group needs. And that we would really like to encourage anyone that feels that wants to come, but maybe fears because of other people and sharing or opening or being seen. First of all, we don't require anyone to open and share what they don't want to share.
Of course, yeah.
And the second thing is that the beauty of the whole process is that each one of us carries exactly the right ingredient for the whole process to happen.
It's like one big family by the time it leaves. And what just blows my mind, and I've certainly been guilty of this, or
A baby bird. We
Yeah,
even
right.
welcome baby birds into the process.
Is that we are so connected in our daily lives, right? Social media, people work, but yet there's an element of us that's, I feel, is so disconnected, and there's a part of us that is just starving. And I was even thinking about this. It's like we're choking ourselves on information, but actually starving for something much deeper that's going on. And we think information is going to solve the deeper thing that we're actually starving for. And what's blatantly obvious is actually community, like true support and care. And to feel part of something where you can be unconditionally yourself, but, authentically yourself and unashamedly yourself, and to find that truth within us. But you need to have the community around you to allow you to hold that on, and then you can feel greater to something else and feel part of something else. But yet we're so frightened of giving ourselves that permission to be in that. It's crazy.
And not only that you get to be a part of something else, but then that something else becomes even greater than what it
What
was.
it is, yeah.
It's like how many times we go through. It's like, wow, that was incredible. We can't get any better than that. And then people come in, and what they bring just amplifies it to that next level. And it's like you can't script it. You can't, and it's just mind blowing how things ping and bounce off of each other, inspire one another, and then we create this synergy, and it just the roof literally comes off the place.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, and it just reminds us all, how special and beautiful it is, and to have connection, and to have a bit of a tribe and a community that where you feel like you can just have a conversation that has a bit of meaning to it, and depth and care and connection, and open up and share and be, instead of just talking about the next Game of Thrones episode or whatever,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did watch Game of Thrones, so it was pretty good.
Yeah,
You know what I mean.
That's just
Yeah. We're losing you.
No, I was just sitting there in that space, and just the beauty of it, and what you're talking about, just hearing those words about, we do spend so much time and energy on trivial things, and then we say, I feel so alone, I don't feel fulfilled in my life. And I'm like, well, how much time were you on Netflix? How much time were you on Facebook? Like all these different things that you're not. When was the last time you actually dropped in your heart and like talked to another human and like spoke from what was your authentic truth? That's what happens in that space, and then it just fills us all up, and then we create a value. We discover a value in ourselves, and then that gives us permission to actually sit back and in that knowing that we have a value, relax in ourselves, instead of trying to create an image that then
a false image
that then destroys the opportunity for listening. We don't hear each other, we don't see each other, and we're all trying to be something that we're not. And it's like, and just to dropping in an actual true communication and connection then creates this like you say, love and kindness and peace. And it's like, what do we want to create in this life?
Yeah.
And the realization that actually what we witness is, again, over and over again, that we are all the same, and that we are all one. And whatever
no one's alone.
I carry, you carry as well. And
100%.
the way the whole group works, and how healing of one person elicits the healing of everybody else. And one story touches at least 5 other hearts, and it just creates a beautiful ripple effect.
Yeah. So it's incredible. And I think we covered the points.
Yeah, we did.
I think that's good. We've timed it well. Is there any? I always ask on the podcast. Is there any
the default questions?
Please
No. It only needs to be a sentence. You don't have to go on and on and on, man. Jesus. You don't have to start talking
my
about
sentence.
No, but let me just give you the question out first.
Just relax. So you're basing your current reality on your past right now, because you've listened to his podcast.
Yeah,
and you're
I know.
anticipating a question.
So when you were, just any last words to ponder on for our listeners, Matt? After everything we've covered today, Matt.
What if?
What if? Perfect.
2 words.
Petra?
Go first.
Me?
What a Capricorn.
Shit.
She's got to translate from Croatian back to English.
All right. I'm going to keep it short. Never, ever, ever underestimate what you're truly capable of.
And for me, all that is coming is just, I want to say out loud how grateful I am that 3 of us have this opportunity to do what we do, and learn all these that we were talking about regarding other people, that the 3 of us are going through the same all together, and we help each other grow and mirror one another, and
absolutely,
I'm beyond grateful for that. So that's my last.
Perfect.
That's beautiful. I was gonna get emotional now.
There's too many emotions going on. So anyway, on that note, I don't even know the date. It's like we're in January. We're doing
13th.
We're doing 6 days in Portugal in April the 12th to the 18th over Easter. If you want to join us in Portugal, I've never been to Portugal. I hear it's amazing. The place where we're going to is amazing. Montebello. And then we have just locked down the dates for one winter retreat in August, back up near the Gold Coast where we just facilitated this.
Australia.
In Australia in August. We've got a waiting list currently happening. We're already getting a huge response because we've now had 170 people go through, and they're telling that they have family and friends. So that's going to shift pretty quickly. So if you want to join us, just head back. We've got a brand new website, literally about to launch. liveinflow.co, right? Yeah, .co, not .com, not .com day, .co. We have to be different.
CO.
You know? It's CO.
CO. Leave it at the O.
Yeah,
There's no time for
Yeah. Yeah, so
no. Oh.
yeah. So if liveinflow.co is not ready, you can come back to my website, and all the retreat stuff will be there as well. But it's all happening. We'll have Instagram, we'll have Facebook. Oh my God.
Oh, right. It's all happening.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And may it long continue.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
See you soon, guys.